And now, at last, I am pleased to welcome to our 100th episode the former owner of Alternate Realities, Steve Odo.
Here I am.
There you
Sorry,
are.
go ahead.
I know, look,
I'm
I know
doing two
100
things.
episodes. What'd you say?
I'm just doing two things at once. Go ahead. I can do two things at once.
All right. I know you probably figure 100 episodes, big deal. A lot of podcasts get 100 episodes. But, I wanted to have a nice celebration here and to, of course, have you be part of it and maybe relive some of your greatest hits on My Comic Shop history, because you've been a guest on every season. You've been represented here.
I'll tell you that the fact that it's 100 is mind-boggling.
Oh, you do find that mind by? I didn't think you
Yeah,
would.
I mean, it's a well. I feel like I'm saying I feel like I'm Rich Roney. It's a tribute to you that that you are so devoted to this. Um, I mean, let's face it. You've got a family a family life to keep you occupied, aside from just professional life. That you can find the time to do something like this and still have the enthusiasm for it after all these. I mean, we're talking about years now,
I
right?
know. 6 years.
Yeah. So, congratulations to you. This is a milestone. I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Wow. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm curious. I know you'll likely say you don't remember the episodes you've been on, but do you have any favorites because again, you've been a guest on at least one episode per season, sometimes more. Yeah, I'm just curious if there are any looking back that you're like, oh, like I really like that was my favorite. Does anything stand out?
Uh, Part of it is a bad memory. Um, I think that one of the things that always will stand out is that one where it was you, Bill, and me.
Mm-hmm.
Again, because my memory's so bad, I don't remember if there was a fourth person at the table, but that was sort of like opening your heart to something that you don't usually do, where you just really kind of lay it on the table. It's like, I love you boys, and always been proud. Um, an unusual relationship that I'm lucky that you boys walked into the store. That type of thing is something you don't usually say out loud. Something I think most people would take for granted that the other person knows. But I was so glad that we actually said that, and it still chokes me up when I think about it. It's one of those once in a lifetime things, but I was lucky enough to do it a couple of times, and that always that never that memory, I don't want to say never went away. It just kind of fades a little bit, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was a good podcast. I enjoyed that one. I don't know. I mean, some of them are just silly talks, but the beauty of these things is that we sit around because we're all good friends and just chat about next to nothing and have a good time every single time. Uh, it's I guess I'm very glad that early on, I guess it was partially technology, but early on is just really audio, and now because of the technology that it allows you to do video, I think this is fantastic. I think the next step, of course, is for us to have um, things to hold up and
Yes.
show off. What do I have? What do I have? Oh, Michael Jackson trading cards. No, but it's because I think being visual helps keeps the audience entertained, and I mean, I know some people like listen to these in the car. Um, I used to listen to a lot of them when I was cooking, and while it is while you do have to devote the time to actually to watch it on the screen. Um, I think it's perhaps the next stage, whether it's this year or next year or 5 years. But the fact that the technology is there and that I guess it's getting easier for young guys like you to use. For me, I can barely turn this thing on. But I hope that it'll just progress to something a little bit more interactive, even.
Well, so interesting. So, I know for a while you had encouraged me to do video podcasts, and obviously I finally moved forward with that. I guess what finally put it over the edge, I mean, I do value your opinion. I know Chris Wilcock was another one who, was encouraging me to do that. And, doing my research, it did seem like video podcasts were becoming more popular. And I guess the thing that put it over the top for me was just this sense of like, well, if I have it on YouTube, in addition to the audio versions on the regular podcast platforms, having it on YouTube it's another way for someone to find it. And whether they then sit there and watch the whole thing, or maybe they, watch a few minutes of it and then they go and they download the audio version and listen while they drive, it's another way to catch people. And I will say, now that I have this library of video podcasts and I've been doing it for a while, I do like having the video versions, even just for myself. I like that it's preserved in that way. And I guess the other thing too, just like very practically speaking, I had to look into, because of the pandemic, not doing these in person, I had to look into these video conferencing platforms anyway. So it's like, if we were going to be on this screen, having a conversation, it's like, why not capture the video as well and have that, to put out both versions. So, it's been fun to do. I mean, as far as it being interactive, I mean, the platform that I use, it's called Ecamm, and there is a feature to do live streaming. So that's something that I might investigate down the line. I don't know how eager the audience would be to like watch it live as it's happening and comment, but I would be open to trying that. We do have the capability for it.
Well, we spoke earlier about Mark Hammond and All Yes live sales.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they're not auctions; they're just sales where people are watching. It shows you a little number of how many people are watching, and people are just typing in comments and in a scrolling dialogue, and putting in their claims. When he has help, somebody else over there is typing in what the item is and how much it is. I think it's successful because people are involved and get to be a part of it, and it limits it to say about an hour, because you can't sit there forever and do this, but he seems to be able to draw a crowd, and it's almost like what it used to be at the store, where people just came and hung out for an hour before they had to go back to doing whatever they have to do. But he manages to keep it, and he always has little stories that he's telling, not just a summation of what the book is about, but he'll just come up with little things. And not that you should have a list of jokes to do as you're doing it, but the fact is you don't need it, because again, being part of a comic book store, as people are talking, the funny things just keep popping left and right all the time.
Yeah.
So that was just my 2 cents, my 12 cents.
There you go. But, so now for someone who, you really encouraged me, we'll put it that way, to do these video have you watched any of the video podcasts?
I think I started watching the Rich Roney one. Because of the Adventures of Superman.
Yeah.
I really wish you were talking about Mr. Superman.
We did in the second episode. In the second episode, we did.
I didn't see the second episode.
Now there was a technical snafu with the second episode. So if you go to watch the video version, you'll see me and a picture of Rich. And a picture of Rich.
Oh, a frozen picture?
No, not a frozen picture. Long story short, I wasn't able to capture his video, so I just put up a photo of him for the video, just so that we still have the video. But thankfully, that's it cuts both ways, because it's been somewhat frustrating at times navigating both the remote process and the video capture process over the past few months. But it's been interesting. There's something to it that I really do enjoy. I like figuring it out, and knock on wood, I think I'm in a good place now. But the other thing that I've accepted is that there will be times where things don't go right. And, again, maybe I do have to put up a photo of someone, or maybe there's not video for something, and it's okay.
See, if it were me, I would have done a stick figure and just said Rich Roney underneath it and had that on the half of the screen.
Although it's funny, if there were any guest that we didn't have video for, it's fitting that it's Rich, the person who's, so mysterious and averse to technology. It is fitting. Just going back to your favorite appearances, I agree. I mean, that season 1 finale with you, me, and Bill in the store, I mean, that was in the first cycle of the podcast, but that was the emotional high point of the show. I mean, that was as raw and real as you could hope for, and so cathartic. Myself as well. I'm so glad that we said everything and that it's recorded. That is very special to me. I will say, I think other than that, I think my favorite appearance of yours is in season 4 when you and I talked about our New York Comic Con retailer breakfast day. That was a very fun. I really enjoyed that one.
I'm glad you had a good time. What can I say?
Yeah.
Uh,
No, it was good.
it,
It was good. I felt like like, I don't know, your energy level, like we just had such a great back and forth. I really liked that one.
I guess. I guess. Well, that was your first conference, retailer conference, right?
First retailer
Yeah, yeah. See,
breakfast.
I've done those so many times. I've gone around the country to those to attend these things. So to me, it's just it was a burden to have to go to it. It's funny you mention that though, because I actually still have the package of the freebies that they gave us. I got mine, and you gave me yours, and I sold mine, and I keep thinking, well, I should sell the other one because it, it's like I'm not going to do anything else with it. But it just happens to be right here. So small world. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a good time with that. I guess it was not so much the podcast, but the actual attendance of that thing was just not a
Yeah.
big deal to me.
No,
It's
I
it's like,
know.
I guess, for a lot of people, when they go to a convention and they meet an artist or something, and they're a big fan, and it's like a big thrill to meet this guy and get his autograph on some books and things. But like, again, I've been doing it for so long that I almost avoid eye contact with some of them because I don't want to have to say hello.
No, I know. But again, I think we really got a good episode out of it. I'm very happy with that one. I think our worst one was when I think our worst one was when we did Heroes World. And I only
Oh,
think, well, I only think it was, I mean, worst. I still enjoyed it. I'm still proud of the episode, but we were, and we didn't realize this until after this. We were talking about two different versions of the store. I mean, so this whole episode, like I'm describing one iteration, one of its locations in the gallery. You're talking about another one, and I don't know. We were we were not like synced up on that.
it was parallel worlds.
Yeah, but still, it was still fun. No, I always love having you on, and we've done ones that are one on one, and we've done the group ones, and they're each enjoyable in their own way. Is there a type of episode, either in terms of format or topic, that you and I haven't done yet that you would be interested in doing in the future?
Golly, I mean, after a decade of doing these things, and between all your high school and college projects, that's like, I feel like there's nothing left. I didn't even know what we were going to talk about today.
Actually, on that note, one of the things I wanted to ask you as we're celebrating 100 episodes, over the years, I've asked you to participate in various things, right? It started with that college journalism paper, then my comic shop documentary, and then the podcast. Which one of those, I don't know, were you most either surprised or, unsure of out of the three? Or did you have the strongest reaction to, do you think?
Um, when did you write that play? Was that high school?
The profile of you or the screenplay?
I guess it was a screenplay. Jeff
Yes.
Wong was the yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that one actually kind of surprised me because I said, you know what, we should film this. We shouldn't just leave it on paper to have a good laugh. We should actually make this into a movie. And it was possible at the time. Um, I think there was one line that actually stuck with me. And what are we looking at? 15 years ago was this? Um, the whole thing about the grading of the comic, I think it was.
Hmm.
It's like, is it good? It's like, it's good enough.
Yeah.
It's like that as a comic book dealer, it kind of stayed in my head, and it's like I always want to use that once in a while. But that was a surprise for me. I mean, the movie was a surprise. I didn't think there was anything interesting to talk about, but he made it into something that was interesting. Um, let's see. I thought that the Jay Mizell one was actually pretty touching, because um, it was a real reflection of what was going on in this guy's heart.
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of people. I mean, I know that nobody stays in touch with him. I talk to him once a week, and it's not again, as you get older and you start thinking, about what's important in life. It's like it's not the way you want to go, and
Yeah. Speaking
it's
of
really
Jay,
tough.
yeah, I wanted to mention him because he's someone, he's been on the podcast, and again, he was in my comic shop documentary, and then I did the spin-off short by Spoon, which thank you, and I am very proud of that. I've even though I've made it, I mean, I find it moving as well, and people do ask about him occasionally, and especially now that by Spoon, I have it up on my YouTube channel, people can watch it for free. So sometimes people will comment like, oh, like whatever happened to Jay, and he's still with us. He's at an assisted living facility a couple hours away. And I'm so glad that you stay in regular contact with him. I would say I'm semi-regular like I don't talk to him every week. It's more like every few months, to be honest. And I always, the intention is always there to call him on his grandpad, and then I always get sidetracked. But the times where I have connected with him recently, it's tough. I mean, it really is. It's just tough. There's a lot of silence. He's not as responsive. I mean, I'm assuming that's a similar experience that you've had with him.
Well, I mean, when I call him, he doesn't say. Let's face it. Again, it's a COVID-related thing. With any nursing home assisted living, he's basically it's almost like you're in solitary confinement in prison, and you couldn't have any contact with anybody, other residents. You only had the nurse or the aide come in to give you your medicine or give you food, but you're basically stuck in your room. And if you're not the type of person who has the ability to keep himself busy, I mean, he seems to have just had no interest in reading. I said, I'll get you a subscription to newspapers and magazines. This is a good chance to catch up on all those TMC movies. But he has absolutely no interest in doing any of that. So it's like, what do you do all day? You sit there and take naps. When I call him, he's staring at the screen, but there's actually no reaction, no emotional, nothing. I mean, I'm doing all the talking. Every now and then, well, because of our relationship, it's a little different. Every now and then I said, "Are you alive?" And you still get that silence before he goes, "Yeah, I'm alive." But that's it. That's all you can get out of him. It's pretty much my calling and telling him which of the of his stuff that he left with me, that I'm selling for him. I tell him what I've sold, and it's like I'll let him know that I'm sending him a check or whatever, and I guess his daughter will cash it for him and put it in his account. But I don't know. I mean, it's tough for him because I don't think it's tough to talk to him now because I don't think he's all. I don't say he's not all there, but I'll tell. He's got 2 Judy Garland autographed photos, and for the longest time, for the past year, he's been telling me that the autographs are no good, that they weren't signed by Garland, but they were signed by Judy Garland's mother. And then last week he tells me that they're good. I said, "Well, they're not. You're telling me they're not good." And I said, "No, those are good." I said, "But you said her mother signed them." I said, "No, those aren't signed by her mother." So it's like now I hate doing his autograph photos, but that means I've got to do a lot of research into this and see if these are the real autographs or not.
Yeah.
I know his Glory to Havens are just wrong. It's like signed by 3 different people. He has a few of them. So
No,
I can't. And he says, "Just put them up anyway." I said, "No, it's a federal crime." So forgery. The mail.
I know it's I feel I feel so badly, and because I mean I agree. I mean he is confined to that space, and even under the best circumstances, I mean losing his wife and then moving and being there, that would be difficult enough, but then to be confined and to not have the visitation that like I went to visit him right before the quarantine last year. I went February.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I went.
Wow.
I spent the afternoon with him, and I brought him because I had the same thought. It's like I know he has a lot of hours to fill. It's like, what can I get him? And he loves classic movies. So I got him the Warner Brothers, like, best of Warner Brothers collection across the history of cinema. And I brought him that DVD set, and I spent like an hour showing him how to change the input on his television to the DVD player and put it, and it just didn't connect. And when I've spoken to him since then, I've always said like, oh, like, hey, were you able to get the DVD player working? Or were you able to get someone to help you? And it's always no. And yeah, it's sad. I mean, I understand that, like, when we do talk over the Grandpad, like, I just need to just talk to him and just like tell him stories. Like, I know we're not going to have the back and forth that we used to, but for people who are wondering, Jay is still with us, and we love the guy. Now on a happy note. Oh, actually, going back to the screenplay, it's funny because I wrote that in college and I won an award for it, which was very nice. And yes, I did take inspiration from our life at Alternate Realities. I don't know how like it would really hold up. One thing I've always thought about doing, maybe at some point I'll do this on the podcast, is do it like a radio play. Like, I don't think I would go out and film it, but like if we bring people in and we read it, I might do something like that at some point. The Great Lost Project of Desi. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe something like that.
Well, I think what was striking was the surprise. I'll say surprise ending. It caught me by surprise. I mean, I suppose other people would say I knew it was going to be like this, but I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it.
Well, that's good.
Enjoyed
it. Thank you. I mean, I love doing it. It was really a lot of fun. And, that and the profile that I wrote of you, those are the two, pieces that I wrote in college that, really, certainly the profile, led to a lot. Oh, did you ever listen? Because I read the profile as an audiobook episode of the podcast last year. Did you ever listen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not impressed.
I was like, yeah. I don't know. I guess, again, a lot of this stuff is just kind of not background noise.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, I kind of remember this. Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
Thank you.
That was, last year, again, we were going to do this Homecoming miniseries about Alternate Realities being a vendor at Undiscovered Con, and that didn't happen. And so, I basically had, I had a couple of episodes of the Homecoming that were in the can, and then that just stopped. And so I was looking for episodes to do, and I was like, yeah, I have this profile of Steve, and I've put up the written form of it on my website and on my Facebook page over the years, so people have had an opportunity to read it. But I thought, as far as keeping this interesting for myself and doing something a little different, I was like, well, I've never done an audiobook. I said, so like, I'll read this. And overall, it was an interesting exercise. I wouldn't make a habit out of it, but especially since I had that product and it was a new way to kind of bring it to life. Yeah, it was fun. I for anyone who did listen, I hope they enjoyed. It's always striking to me, and I don't know how you feel about this, but the fact that through, the documentaries and the podcasts now, I mean, people all over. And it's not a vast number of people, but even if it's just a few people who have never stepped foot in Alternate Realities, like know the store, know you, know the Odoisms, they know the salute. I mean, I don't know. How does that make you feel?
Oh, I guess, I think we had a similar conversation where it kind of struck you that I didn't have the big emotional response that you were hoping for. I guess it's something I've never really thought about. It would, like, even the salute. Sometimes I think to myself, like, I do this because of the Shorinji Kempo background, the martial arts background. I don't know if people understand that, and it's. I'm not even going to go into explaining.
Yeah, that's
explaining it, but I guess it's just one of my quirks. It's like I wish people understood the significance of something like this. But the fact that people, well, it's not just me. I mean, so people know all the. It's like Sean Hendricks at Fat Moose Comics. Rich Roney walks in and Sean is yelling at him. Like, you're the guy. You're the guy. You're Mr. Friendship and Fun. So
yeah.
It shocked Rich. But yeah, I mean, and the fact that I know that you're getting these little messages from people around the world who have watched it, and it's entertaining. And I think a lot of other storekeepers could have watched the movie and say, I know exactly what he's talking about. So they feel that familiarity and comfort. So
Yeah.
knowing that they're not alone in this journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, do I think about it? Do people know who I am? It's like it doesn't matter. I like to be behind the throne. I don't like to be the one on front on the screen.
Mm. So he says, yet he continues to participate, and I always appreciate it. And it's my honor to spread the gospel of SCO, and I'm glad, for anyone who has enjoyed it. So listen, thank you very much for all of your participation in the various projects. This won't be the last. I don't know when or where, but I'm sure we'll be podcasting again. But in the meantime, thank you for being part of this 100th episode of My Comic Shop History.
Well, thank you for always including me. I do appreciate it, even if I don't always say it. Okay, but and again, it's like whatever you need, I'll come running. So it's one of the things you never worry about stuff like that. Yeah, if like nobody shows up, I'll still come and talk.
I do appreciate. Listen, there have been screenings where
No,
it's just been you, so I do appreciate that.
no dead airspace. Don't worry.